The massive shadow of Imperial warships darkens skies worldwide as humanity faces its first alien contact. Captain Alina Chen, decorated veteran and aerospace engineer, stands among Earth's representatives as the elegant yet condescending ambassador Zor Fol offers Earth protection with a smile that doesn't reach his 4 eyes. Your civilization has achieved remarkable progress for such a young species, Zorful says, his translator conveying perfect English with an unplaceable accent. The Galactic Empire welcomes Earth as its newest protectorate. Alina studies the ambassador carefully. His tall, slender frame towers over the human delegation, iridescent scales shimmering beneath his ornate diplomatic robes. Behind him stand Imperial guards with weapons that seem more like abstract sculptures than tools of war. When United Nations officials proudly display Earth's most advanced spacecraft prototypes, the Imperial delegation exchanges glances before erupting in poorly concealed laughter. "Charming," Zorful remarks, patting the Secretary General on the shoulder like a child. "You've managed to discover basic particle acceleration. The Empire mastered these principles before your species walked upright." Alina's knuckles whiten as she grips her uniform cap. The Secretary General forces a smile, diplomatic training barely masking his humiliation. Perhaps with Imperial guidance, humanity might advance more rapidly. Zorful continues, displaying holographic projections of technologies beyond human comprehension, in exchange for reasonable resource allocations, of course. The terms become clear as the meeting progresses. Earth will receive limited technological assistance, medical advances, agricultural improvements, modest energy solutions, while the Empire gains access to planetary resources, strategic positioning in the solar system, and a new labor force. This is how many worlds begin their journey toward Imperial citizenship. Zorful explains. In a few centuries, with proper development, Earth might earn representation in the lower councils. Later that evening, Alina sits silently in a secured conference room beneath Geneva as world leaders debate their limited options. "Their ships could glass our major cities in minutes," the Russian president points out. "What choice do we have?" "We accept their terms," China's premier agrees. For now. Only after most delegates leave does the real meeting begin. 12 individuals remain, military commanders, scientists, and intelligence directors, from a carefully selected group of nations. "Project Nemesis," the American president says simply, sliding a quantum-encrypted tablet to Alina. "Captain Chen, you've been selected to lead our response." Dr. Marcus Wong, a brilliant physicist whose theories were once mocked by his peers, unfolds blueprints across the table. His hands tremble with excitement despite the grim circumstances. "They're so advanced they've stopped looking for new paths," he whispers. "And that's their weakness." Wong explains his theory, pointing to the Imperial technology specifications they've been permitted to see. They've optimized a single technological approach for millennia. Their advancement is linear, refined to perfection along one axis of development. Alina studies the designs before her, unlike anything in Earth's aerospace program or the Imperial schematics. "You're proposing we develop something completely orthogonal to their technological paradigm," she realizes. Wong nods. "Something they won't expect because they abandoned these research paths eons ago, declaring them inefficient or impossible." The Secretary General, last to leave, places a hand on Alina's shoulder. "The Empire expects us to be good little protectorates, grateful for their scraps while they strip our world bare. They believe time is on their side." His eyes harden. "Let's prove them wrong." As dawn breaks over Geneva, Project Nemesis begins with a single question that will reshape the galaxy. What if humanity's perceived technological inferiority is actually our greatest advantage? Seawater drips from the ceiling of Nemesis Base, a repurposed deep-sea mining platform off Japan's coast. Captain Chen dodges a shower of sparks as technicians weld the experimental ship's outer hull. The air tastes of salt and ozone, filled with the sounds of humanity's desperate ingenuity. "We have 18 months before the next Imperial inspection," She reminds Dr. Wong, who hasn't slept in 3 days. Dark circles frame his intense eyes as he calibrates equipment that shouldn't exist according to conventional physics. It'll be enough, he insists, though his trembling hands betray his exhaustion. The quantum entanglement core stabilized during last night's test. We're making progress. Unlike the Empire's mammoth vessels powered by conventional antimatter reactors, Nemesis is sleek and compact. Where Imperial ships rely on brute force, channeling enormous energy through crystalline amplifiers, Wong's design harnesses the subtle dance of quantum particles across dimensional boundaries. They abandoned this research path 8,000 years ago, Wong explains to the engineering team. Their records classified it as inefficient and unpredictable compared to their current technology. Alina studies the holographic model hovering before them. Their loss, our gain. The true genius lies in Nemesis's gravity manipulation weapon, technology the Empire discarded as a developmental dead end. By folding space-time rather than punching through it, the weapon requires minimal energy while causing maximum disruption to conventional matter. The project faces its first crisis when Imperial advisor Krelvor makes a surprise visit to Earth's facilities. His communication arrives only 30 minutes before his shuttle enters atmosphere. Routine inspection, the message claims. Alina knows better. She hastily activates Protocol Mirage, dispersing the core Nemesis team while support staff prepare the decoy laboratories. These showcase deliberately flawed rocket designs and fusion experiments, technological paths the Empire expects Earth to pursue. Captain Chin. Krelvor purrs as he steps from his shuttle, 4 eyes blinking in Earth's unfamiliar sunlight. I'm so pleased you'll be my guide today. Alina bows with practiced deference. The honor is mine, advisor. Earth welcomes Imperial wisdom. 15 kilometers away, beneath the Pacific surface, a catastrophic power surge threatens to melt Nemesis' prototype drive. Warning klaxons wail as technicians scramble to contain the cascading quantum fluctuations. The alignment's destabilizing, a technician shouts over the comm. Automated systems can't compensate. Wong makes a split-second decision. Overriding safety protocols, he enters the radiation-flooded chamber housing the quantum matrix. Temperature readings climb toward lethal levels as he manually adjusts the crystalline lattice with tools designed for robotic arms. Meanwhile, Alina keeps the Imperial officer distracted, leading him through carefully prepared laboratories where scientists pretend to struggle with rudimentary antimatter containment. Impressive effort, Krelvor notes with thinly veiled amusement. Though your understanding of quantum chromodynamics is charmingly primitive. Alina smiles tightly. We're grateful for any insights you might share. When Krelvor finally departs 6 hours later, Alina rushes back to Nemesis base, arriving to chaos. Medical teams surround Wong, who lies on a stretcher, his left hand and forearm blackened by radiation exposure. Despite his pain, Wong grins triumphantly. It works, he tells her, as behind him, the scaled-down prototype hovers silently above its platform, defying gravity without visible propulsion or energy signatures. And they'll never see it coming. Alina watches the small craft rotate silently, its hull absorbing rather than reflecting light. For the first time since the Empire arrived, she feels something long forgotten. Hope. 3 years into Earth's protective relationship, Imperial harvester ships drain Lake Baikal for its pristine water, leaving nothing but cracked mud and stranded fishing boats. Where the world's deepest freshwater lake once stood, local children now play in the dusty basin, collecting abandoned fishing gear and strange metallic fragments left behind by Imperial machinery. Captain Chen, now serving as chief liaison to the Imperial Oversight Committee, maintains a perfect mask of cooperation while secretly cataloging every Imperial weakness she observes. Her office in the newly constructed Planetary Administration Tower offers a panoramic view of Shanghai's skyline, now dominated by Imperial architecture. Translucent spires house Zorthol's expanded diplomatic corps, who arrive each day with new requests for Earth's resources. Efficiency recommendations, the Empire calls them. Alina calls them what they are: systematic pillaging. Televised protests in Brazil turn violent as Imperial peacekeepers use sonic weapons to disperse crowds blocking access to Amazon resources. The footage plays on Alina's screen while Ambassador Zorful drones on about regrettable but necessary security measures. Earth's leadership understands that development requires sacrifice. She responds, the practiced words tasting bitter. We appreciate the Empire's guidance during this transition. Behind her diplomatic facade, Alina's mind catalogues Imperial tactical patterns, their over-reliance on centralized command structures, their predictable response formations, their technological blind spots. Each observation becomes encrypted data transmitted to Nemesis Base. The Empire grows increasingly bold, demanding access to genetic databases, establishing permanent military installations in strategic locations, and beginning the systematic extraction of nuclear material for safety reasons. Your species is still quite volatile, Zorful explains during a private dinner with Earth's Leadership Council. We've seen civilizations destroy themselves at this development stage. We're simply removing temptation. Alina's cover nearly breaks when she discovers her brother's research facility has been designated for resource repurposing, a euphemism for total stripping. Michael Chen's advanced agricultural projects, developing crops resistant to changing climate conditions, apparently interest Imperial xenobiologists. That night, she visits her brother's apartment. Surveillance makes their conversation carefully coded. They're just interested in comparative biological systems, Michael says loudly for the listening devices. Then, on a notepad, asterisk, they're taking everything. Research, seeds, staff, asterisk. Alina's hand tightens around her glass. The Empire's interest is a great honor, she replies while writing. Asterisk, how much time asterisk? Asterisk, 2 weeks, asterisk, her brother writes back. Asterisk, some staff already transferred off-planet asterisk. During a private meeting with Earth's Security Council, Alina slams down photographs of environmental devastation alongside intelligence reports of Earth citizens being relocated to Imperial labor colonies. We're running out of time, she warns as satellite imagery shows the largest Imperial fleet yet entering the solar system. They're not just taking our resources now, they're taking our people. The Secretary General's face is gray with exhaustion. How ready is Nemesis? Dr. Wong, his left arm now a sophisticated prosthetic developed using reverse-engineered Imperial technology, projects the latest test results. The drive works. The weapon works in controlled tests. But it's never been deployed in actual combat conditions. Alina finishes. We planned for 6 more months of testing. The Council falls silent as new intelligence arrives. The incoming Imperial fleet carries specialized atmospheric processors designed to optimize Earth's environment for Imperial colonization rather than human habitation. The next shipment they want is our children as laborers, counters the Secretary General, ending all debate. Nemesis launches in 72 hours. That night, Alina records a message for her family, uncertain if she'll return from what might be a suicide mission against overwhelming odds. Her hands steady as she finishes with words that will become Earth's rallying cry. They thought us primitive. We'll show them we're simply different. Cargo vessel Demeter requesting departure clearance. Alina transmits from Nemesis's bridge, her voice steady despite the sweat trickling down her spine. The experimental ship, disguised under holographic camouflage as a standard resource transport, rises from the Pacific. Imperial Orbital Control responds with the expected bureaucratic indifference, assigning them a standard departure vector toward Mars. 6 hand-picked crew members, each with personal reasons to hate the Empire, monitor systems that hum rather than roar, using power principles that Imperial science considers theoretical at best. Lieutenant Sarah Kagawa, navigation specialist, whose hometown was strip-mined into oblivion, confirms their projected course with fingers that dance across unfamiliar controls. Holographic envelope stable, reports Commander Jackson, former Black Ops specialist who lost his wife to Imperial medical research. His scared face reflects in the darkened view screen. As far as they can tell, we're just another shipment of Earth metals heading to their processing station. Elena nods, forcing her breathing to remain even. 3 years of preparation, countless sacrifices, millions of resources hidden from Imperial auditors, all riding on the next few hours. The deception works until they pass lunar orbit, when Lieutenant Kagawa reports energy fluctuations in the quantum drive. On the tactical display, Imperial patrol cruiser Indomitable changes course to investigate. "Captain, they're hailing us," Communications Officer Patel announces, her expression tight. "Cargo vessel Demeter, our sensors detect anomalous energy readings. Power down and prepare for inspection," comes the Imperial commander's voice, heavy with authority and disdain. Elena meets each crew member's gaze before giving the order they've all prepared for but hope to avoid. Disengage holographic camouflage. Quantum drive to full power. What follows becomes legend. Nemesis leaps forward with acceleration that would liquefy his crew, if not for the ship's gravity compensation field, vanishing from Imperial trackers in seconds. The Indomitable fires too late, energy weapons slicing through empty space as Nemesis performs the first full-scale quantum shift ever attempted by human technology. The disorientation is savage. Elena tastes copper as blood vessels in her nose rupture from the dimensional stress. Around her, crew members retch and gasp, their bodies adjusting to physics that shouldn't exist. Then, suddenly, stillness. "Position," Elena demands, blinking away tears. "Jupiter's orbit, Captain," Kagawa responds with wonder. "Exact coordinates unknown. We've traveled farther than our navigation systems were programmed to calculate." Against the viewport, the massive gas giant swirls in hypnotic patterns of amber and cream. They've crossed a distance that would take conventional spacecraft months in mere minutes. "We need to conduct the weapons test before they track us," Elena orders, her voice finding strength. "Target the third moon in the cluster. Uninhabited according to our data." Chief Weapons Officer Raman, a theoretical physicist whose entire research team was reassigned to Imperial laboratories, initializes the gravity lance with reverent care. Targeting systems online. Gravitational focus at 30% capacity. "Fire," Elena commands simply. The weapon doesn't emit visible energy or recoil like conventional weapons. Instead, an invisible distortion ripples outward, reaching across space to touch the barren moon. The results exceed all projections. The weapon doesn't just damage its target, but fundamentally alters its structural integrity, causing cascading molecular failure that reduces solid rock to expanding dust clouds. For a moment, silence holds the bridge. They've just witnessed destructive potential beyond anything in human history. Their celebration ends when sensors detect an Imperial battle group responding to the energy discharge. 3 warships materialize at the edge of the Jovian system, their weapon ports already cycling open. They traced the distortion, Raman confirms grimly. What follows is a harrowing chase through the Jovian system, with Elena piloting manually through radiation storms and magnetic interference that scrambles Imperial targeting. For hours, they play an impossible game of hide-and-seek among the gas giants' moons, using Nemesis's small size and unconventional drive to evade Imperial hunters. They return to Earth only to find Commander Vexnar's personal warship in orbit, its weapons ports open in silent threat. They know something, Elena tells her exhausted crew, studying the Imperial vessel through Nemesis's sensors. But they don't know enough. Yet, the United Nations General Assembly falls silent as Commander Vexnar's hologram towers over the delegates, his expression cold as he presents gravitational anomaly readings from Jupiter. His 4 eyes narrow as he manipulates the display, highlighting energy patterns that pulse with unmistakable artificial rhythm. "These energy signatures," he hisses, "match no known natural phenomenon." Behind his massive projection, Live feeds show Imperial warships descending into low orbit over major cities worldwide, engines purposely generating window-rattling sound to emphasize their presence. In Beijing, Tokyo, New York, and London, civilians look skyward at the metal behemoths blocking the sun. The Empire has nurtured Earth's development with patience. Vexnar continues, his translator conveying perfect inflection. We have provided technology, protection, and guidance. In return, we discover secret weapons development, a violation of our most basic protection treaties. The Secretary General stands, her composure admirable under the circumstances. Commander, I assure you. Silence. Vexnar interrupts, his skin flushing deep purple with controlled rage. The Empire demands immediate inspection of all Earth facilities and direct Imperial governance for the protection of this developing world from its own dangerous experimentation. The terms scroll across screens worldwide. Surrender of all military assets, installation of Imperial governors in every nation, immediate extraction of specified resources, and supervised relocation of key human scientists and engineers to Imperial research centers. You have one standard week to comply, Vexnar concludes, after which we will implement these measures ourselves. The hologram dissolves, leaving stunned silence. As public panic spreads, Dr. Wong works in a frenzy within Nemesis Base, neural interfaces connecting him directly to the ship's systems, while technicians upgrade the gravity weapon with materials stripped from their own facility. Power compression algorithm at 87% efficiency. Wong murmurs, his organic and prosthetic hands moving in perfect synchrony across holographic controls. Not good enough. Elena studies the damage reports from Nemesis's maiden voyage. The quantum drive sustained stress fractures, the gravity compensation field nearly failed during their escape, and power reserves drained faster than projected. If we're going to die, Wong tells her during a rare break, his eyes bloodshot from sleeplessness, we might as well make it count. Elena nods, placing a hand briefly on his shoulder. How long? 48 hours for minimum combat readiness, 72 for optimal performance. We have 60, she responds, forwarding new intelligence to his neural interface. Imperial landing craft are already deploying troops near critical infrastructure. In cities across Earth, Imperial soldiers establish checkpoints as the one-week deadline approaches. Families rush evacuation centers while governments publicly negotiate for time, while privately sending their best people to Elena's crew. Security Council meetings now occur in underground bunkers, communications equipment checked hourly for Imperial surveillance. The quantum signature from Jupiter confirmed what they suspected. Intelligence Director Okafor explains, displaying intercepted Imperial communications. They know we've developed something, but their scans can't penetrate Nemesis's hull to determine exactly what. And Vexnar? Helena asks. Ambitious, Okafor responds. He's been passed over for promotion 3 times. Crushing Earth's rebellion would secure his advancement. The night before the deadline, Elena walks through Nemesis's corridors, memorizing the faces of her volunteers. The mathematician who lost her wife to Imperial medical research. The pilot whose hometown was strip-mined into oblivion. The engineer who smuggled refugees from Imperial work camps. Dr. Wong meets her at the bridge, his prosthetic arm now integrated with tactical systems. Final diagnostics complete. We're as ready as we'll ever be. Elena takes the captain's chair, feeling its contours adjust to her form. Around her, Earth's finest minds and bravest souls prepare for what might be humanity's final stand. Her voice doesn't waver as she orders, prepare for launch. Today we either free Earth or avenge it. The first Imperial bombardment strikes military bases across Earth with surgical precision, weapons designed to demonstrate hopelessness rather than inflict maximum casualties. Kinetic rods from orbit punch through hardened bunkers like needles through fabric, while precision energy weapons disable power grids across 6 continents. Admiral Vexnar, recently promoted for his handling of the Earth situation, watches from his command ship as precisely calculated destruction unfolds according to Imperial doctrine, established thousands of years ago. His 4 eyes blink in satisfaction as tactical displays show minimal Imperial casualties and steadily diminishing Earth resistance. Primitive, he murmurs to his executive officer. They still believe physical bravery can overcome technological superiority. The doctrine says nothing, however, about the small underwater disturbance off Japan's coast, dismissed by sensors as underwater volcanic activity. Nemesis rises through boiling seawater, its quantum drive already spooling to full power, its systems running in complete electromagnetic silence. Quantum signature masked, reports Lieutenant Kagoa. Imperial sensors register us as background radiation. Alina studies the Imperial formation through enhanced displays. 342 ships, arranged in perfect geometric patterns that haven't changed in millennia. She identifies communication nodes and command vessels, the auxiliary craft, and the predictable defensive screens. Remember your training, she tells her crew. They expect direct confrontation. They expect announced challenges and honorable engagement. She allows herself one grim smile. Let's disappoint them. Nemesis strikes its first target, an Imperial communications relay, before the larger ships register its existence. The satellite-sized installation implodes, its structure collapsing inward as the gravity weapon disrupts molecular bonds at the quantum level. Before alarms can sound throughout the fleet, Nemesis has already shifted position, its quantum drive bending space-time to reappear 70 kilometers away. Target 2. Alina orders calmly. Secondary command vessel. The small Earth vessel seems to phase in and out of normal space, appearing at point-blank range just long enough to fire its gravity weapon before vanishing again. Imperial tactical networks lag seconds behind reality, a fatal delay when facing a ship that doesn't obey conventional physics. Imperial ships begin firing frantically at sensor ghosts as Nemesis systematically dismantles their battle network. 3 Imperial cruisers collapse inward, their hulls compressing like aluminum cans crushed in a giant's fist. Secondary explosions ripple through the fleet as power cores breach and weapon systems overload. They're adapting, warns Raman from Tactical. Energy patterns suggest they're modifying their shields to counter gravitational disruption. Alina nods. This was expected. The Empire's technological base remains formidable, even in surprise. Implement attack pattern Omega. Target their flagship. Nemesis executes a series of rapid quantum jumps, appearing briefly at different vectors around the Imperial fleet. Each appearance draws concentrated fire, but the ship vanishes microseconds before impact, leaving frustrated Imperial gunners firing at empty space. Quantum drive temperature critical, reports engineering. We can't maintain this pattern much longer. On his flagship, Admiral Vexnar watches in growing horror as his perfect formation disintegrates into chaos. Imperial doctrine offers no contingency for an enemy that appears and disappears at will, striking with weapons that ignore conventional defenses. Focus all sensors, he commands. There must be a pattern to their movements. Nothing can simply appear and disappear. As confusion spreads through the Imperial fleet, Alina positions Nemesis for its masterstroke, waiting until Admiral Vexnar orders his remaining ships into defensive formation, exactly as Imperial doctrine demands for unknown threats. All ships consolidate around the command vessel, Vexnar orders. Overlapping fields, maximum coverage. Alina watches the Imperial ships draw together into a tight defensive sphere, exactly as predicted by Dr. Wong's analysis of Imperial tactical algorithms. They never change, she whispers. 3,000 years of warfare, and they still follow the same playbook. As the last Imperial vessel locks into formation, she gives a simple command. Position for primary weapon deployment. Target. Center mass of Imperial formation. Gravitational singularity projector at full capacity, reports Science Officer Raman, his voice tight as radiation warnings flash across Nemesis's bridge. The experimental weapon has never been fired at full power, its effects calculated only in theoretical models. Sweat beads on his forehead as he monitors containment fields that strain against forces that shouldn't exist in normal space. Around the bridge, crew members exchange glances. Some close their eyes briefly in silent prayer. Others stare defiantly at the tactical displays, showing the concentrated Imperial fleet. Hundreds of ships gathered in defensive formation against a single human vessel. Elena gives the order with 3 quiet words. End this now. What happens next defies conventional description. The projector doesn't fire energy or matter, but instead creates a rapidly expanding field where gravitational constants themselves become weapons. Space-time folds and compresses within the field's influence, turning the fundamental forces of physics against the Imperial vessels. Imperial ships nearest to Nemesis implode instantly, their structural integrity overcome by forces that compress matter to impossible densities. Metal, ceramic, and crystalline components, materials engineered to withstand the most extreme conditions, collapse into themselves as gravity multiplies exponentially within their molecular structure. Further vessels suffer catastrophic stress fractures as gravity waves propagate outward, tearing bulkheads and rupturing power cores in cascading failure. Ships designed to withstand supernova crumple like paper toys, their elegant forms twisting into unrecognizable masses of compressed matter. On his flagship, Admiral Vexnar watches in disbelief as ships that have conquered 1,000 worlds disintegrate before his eyes. His tactical officer collapses, blood pouring from eyes and ears as localized gravity fluctuations penetrate the flagship's shields. Impossible, he whispers before ordering all remaining firepower directed at the tiny human vessel. All ships concentrate fire on coordinates Delta 9. Maximum dispersal pattern. The counterattack strikes Nemesis with devastating effect. Though most Imperial weapons miss their rapidly shifting target, enough energy connects to breach the experimental ship's outer hull. Atmosphere vents into space from multiple compartments. Power surges overload critical systems. Hull breach, decks 3 through 7, reports Commander Jackson, voice steady despite the chaos. Quantum drive destabilizing. Containment fields failing. Elena grits her command chair as the ship shudders violently. Casualties. 12 confirmed dead, 28 injured. Engineering reports the quantum core is approaching critical failure. As life support fails and warning klaxons blare, Elena makes the final decision, the one they had hoped to avoid but prepared for nonetheless. Set collision course with the flagship, quantum displacement at maximum. The wounded Nemesis accelerates directly toward Vexinar's command ship, its drives manipulating space-time until the 2 vessels occupy overlapping positions. The principles are identical to their main weapon, but focused to a pinpoint, and with the added mass of Nemesis itself as catalyst. Quantum displacement in 5 seconds, intones Kagawa from navigation. 4, 3. All personnel to escape pods. Elena orders, remaining in her chair. Automated systems will complete the approach. Captain. Raman begins to protest. That's an order. She cuts him off. Earth will need you for what comes next. The resulting reaction violates fundamental physical laws. 2 masses cannot occupy the same space. The explosion rivals a small supernova, consuming both ships and sending a shockwave that disables every remaining Imperial vessel in Earth orbit. Matter converted instantly to energy creates a blinding flash visible from the planet's surface, like a second sun briefly igniting among the stars. Emergency pods eject from Nemesis seconds before impact, carrying Raman, Wong, and a third of her crew toward the planet below. From their small viewports, they witness the end of Imperial dominance in a silent flash of light that seems to bend and distort the very fabric of space around it. In his final moment, Admiral Vexnar understands too late the fatal flaw in Imperial thinking. They had dismissed human technology because it didn't follow their established patterns, never realizing that divergent evolution might produce entirely new solutions to old problems. His last transmission to the Imperial capital contains only 6 words. They are not what we thought. From the escape pod, Dr. Wong watches the explosion dissipate, revealing a debris field where once the mighty Imperial fleet had stood. In his hand, he clutches a data core containing everything they had learned about quantum manipulation and gravitational weapons. "Elena," he whispers, "they'll remember your name across the stars." 6 months after what Earth now calls Liberation Day, Captain Chen, promoted to Admiral despite her protests, stands before the newly formed Galactic Council of Free Worlds. The circular chamber, converted from an Imperial administrative center, now hosts representatives from 17 previously subjugated species. Elena studies their diverse forms, some humanoid, others wildly different, united by a shared experience of Imperial dominance. "We expected to die alone," Elena tells the assembly, her dress uniform still bearing the hastily designed insignia of Earth's new Space Force. "Instead, we discovered we were never alone in our resistance." The Empire's defeat at Earth rippled across the galaxy faster than their fastest ships could travel. Nemesis's quantum signature, detected by monitoring stations throughout Imperial space, carried with it an unmistakable message. The undefeatable had been defeated. Dr. Wong, his left arm now replaced with advanced prosthetics incorporating salvaged Imperial technology, leads Earth's technological renaissance. In laboratories worldwide, scientists combine Imperial salvage with humanity's innovative approaches, making breakthroughs that might have taken centuries under normal circumstances. The Empire stagnated because they believed they'd reached perfection. He explains to eager students from a dozen worlds gathered in what was once an Imperial re-education facility. They stopped looking for alternative paths. When confronted with technology that operated on principles they'd abandoned millennia ago, they couldn't adapt quickly enough. Earth shipyards, once hiding a single prototype, now produce vessels incorporating Nemesis principles, each named after Earth mythological figures. Prometheus, Athena, Thor, ships that represent not just defense but opportunity for a new kind of interstellar community. The original Nemesis no longer exists, but its legacy spreads as formerly oppressed worlds share their unique scientific perspectives, creating technologies the Empire never imagined possible. Quantum communication networks allow instantaneous coordination between resistance movements. Gravitational manipulation techniques, refined and expanded upon, revolutionize everything from medicine to agriculture. Elena walks the memorial garden established where Nemesis's main escape pod landed. Stone markers bear the names of those lost in the battle, both the crew who didn't escape and the civilians killed in Imperial bombardments. At the center stands a simple granite boulder bearing Captain Elena Chen's name and rank. The real Elena, rescued from space by a damaged but functional escape pod 3 weeks after the battle, still finds it strange to visit her own memorial. Her survival was deemed classified information until the Empire's counterattack plans could be fully assessed. When intelligence reports confirm that the Empire prepares for a desperate counterattack, Admiral Chen doesn't call for mobilization, but instead invites their ambassadors to witness the combined fleet of the free worlds. The Imperial representatives arrive expecting to find a ragtag resistance. Instead, they're escorted past shipyards producing vessels that incorporate not just Earth's quantum technology, but innovations from a dozen other species. A Centaurian engineer demonstrates gravity manipulation shields that render conventional weapons useless. Procyon scientists display biological computing systems that process information in ways Imperial technology cannot comprehend. Earth representatives showcase the next-generation quantum drive that makes their ships effectively untraceable and unstoppable. As former Imperial subjects demonstrate their reclaimed technological heritage alongside Earth's ships, the Imperial representatives finally understand their fundamental error. They dismissed Earth not because humans were primitive, but because the Empire had forgotten that true advancement comes from diversity of thought. The peace treaty, signed 3 months later, establishes neutral zones and non-interference principles. The Empire, diminished but still powerful, retreats to its core systems to reconsider millennia of assumptions. The final scene shows a classroom on a distant world where alien children learn about Earth's stand against overwhelming odds, their teacher explaining how a single ship called Nemesis changed the galaxy by proving that the future belongs to those who dare to imagine it differently. The Empire saw only one path forward, the teacher explains, her crystalline appendages gesturing toward a hologram of the legendary ship. They forgot that evolution favors diversity, not just of species, but of ideas. On the classroom wall hangs a simple plaque with words now famous throughout the free worlds. They dismissed us. They underestimated us. They learned.